here in person. I request Shri Jagdish Patankar from Active Sci-Tech Communications to kindly come on stage. Welcome, sir. I'd like to invite Dr. Mrs. Vasanti Yadav, Professor Yadav's wife, onto the stage. Welcome, ma'am. I request the audience to give everyone a big round of applause. I welcome all of the guests. Thank you. I request Professor V.K. Rathod. I request everyone to please be seated. So, good evening to all. My name is Sneha Shetty. I'm a PhD student at the Institute of Chemical Technology, and I happen to have the honor of working under Professor Yadav for my PhD. So this function has been arranged in honor of Professor Yadav's 71st birthday, and SusChemE 2.0, an event that was inaugurated today, has also been arranged in honor of Professor Yadav. So the students of Sir, all call him just that, Sir. For everyone else, he's an academician and someone who's a stalwart of the chemical industry. But for us, and I know that I speak for all of the students present here, is that at any given point of the day, Sir's energy is more than any of us combined. So we learn from him every day. In spite of his very, very busy schedule, you will find him engrossed in very detailed conversations with his students, and it will generally be scattered with tidbits about his own student life at ICT. So, and we are eternally grateful to you for all the learnings. On behalf of all the students who have had the privilege of being associated with you, sir, we thank you. We wish you a very happy birthday, and I want to tell you that you've left an indelible mark on all of us. Thank you, sir. With this, let us begin. I'd like to invite Professor V.K. Rathod, who's the convener for SusChemE 2.0, which was inaugurated today, to come and give the opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Sneha. The distinguished people on the dais, dear colleagues, I'll not spend time within 2 minutes. I'll finish my opening remarks. Just to say that morning we had a SusChemE conference, and it is in the honor of Professor G.D Yadav. Especially this conference we organize only for G.D Yadav's birthday. So today is his 71st birthday. So because he worked on green chemistry a lot, he's almost more than 35 to 40 years he spent on green chemistry. So to give this the back to him about his work on the green chemistry, we organize his 71st birthday as a SusChemE, and as a part of the SusChemE, we organize his birthday here. So I hope you'll enjoy for next 30 minutes, and I thank you for all minister for here for his birthday. So please enjoy. Thank you.
I would like to invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor A.B. Pandit, who is also the chairman for SusChemE 2.0, to come and address the gathering.
Thank you, Neha. Good evening. I'm very happy to see all gathered here to celebrate one of the distinguished scientists, sons of India, Professor G.D Yadav. SusChemE 2 is essentially conducted in honor of him, and I'm very happy that this is also an occasion for us to recognize his excellence as well as his work and his contribution to the chemical industry, sustainability, green chemistry, and engineering in general. Chief guest of today's felicitation function, Shri Nadir Godrej, Chairman, Godrej Industries Limited. Guest of honor, Honorable Minister Shri Sudhir Mungattiwar, Professor M.M. Sharma, without whom none of the ICT functions get completed. Also, as I said, our honorable alumni, honorary alumni, Dr. Anil Kakodkar, distinguished alumni, Shri Madhukarbai Parekh, Professor G.D Yadav and Vasanti, old-time friends and colleagues. I'm very happy to be here welcoming you all on this felicitation function. Chemistry, chemical engineering, science has to go hand in hand with the social development. So we have had a morning session which was full of sustainability issues which are currently being faced, currently being addressed, with the keynote address coming from Professor M.M. Sharma, which listed out how chemical industry, to start with, has addressed the issue of sustainability without realizing it. Very similar to when the bandwagon of nanomaterials started, without realizing the fact that nanomaterials were used by our ancient workers, Ayurveda, and so on and so forth, without calling it as a nanomaterial. Similarly, the whole evolution of chemical industry has always been in that direction, how to maximize the output coming from minimizing resources. And our Chancellor had coined a term for that, how to get more from less for everybody. Especially when you are trying to have a balance between growth and sustainability, to maintain the ecological balance, it is necessary for us to address the issue of sustainability, keeping in mind the definition of sustainability in terms of period. What is that period over which we are trying to address the sustainability? Now, if you ask this question to different people, you will get different answers. You ask this to a beggar, the beggar will say, if I get a food for today and tomorrow, I have sustained myself. If you ask that to CEO, quite a few of you are sitting there, they will say that if I am able to sustain this quarter, my issue of sustainability is addressed. If you ask this to politician, pardon me sir, they will say, till next election, 5 years, till I get that. But for an industry, especially chemical industry, the sustainability needs to be looked at over a much, much longer horizon. Probably 150, 200 years, a typical lifetime of a region, or let's say, you see various kingdoms which have occurred, and you see the validity and sustainability of these kingdoms. And the only kingdom which was the longest serving kingdom was Ahom dynasty for a period of 800 years. But that was in the far east of India, and mainly they had advantage of a remote location. Anywhere else you will find that 200 to 300 years is the typical period of the sustainability of the kingdom. So we need to sustain ourselves at least for that particular period, and whatever we do need to address this particular period. And I am sure in this particular conference, as well as the advices which we will get from all the people who are sitting on the dais, their past experience and their own efforts in making their industry sustainable. The right example is in front of you. an industry like Godrej Industries, which has sustained itself so well for more than a century. And this is where we are in a position to learn from them, and I'm very happy that we are using this occasion of felicitation of Professor G.D Yadav, and this, in addition to felicitation, is also going to be an advice and a teaching for Professor Yadav to sustain himself for another 15 years or 20 years or 30 years, so that he continues with the equal zest. I would like to welcome you all in this ballroom of Hotel President on behalf of ICT and on behalf of SusChemE 2 conference as an organizer and chairman. Welcome and enjoy the event. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Truly a unique explanation of sustainability, I must say. I'd like to request Professor M.M. Sharma, former director of the Institute of Chemical Technology, to kindly say a few words about Professor Yadav.
Key person of this evening, Ganpati Dada Yadav. I said few things about him in the morning, so I don't intend to repeat. So I'm going to start differently. Here is a poet, wrestler, and a romantic fellow. The result of romance is next door to him. And that gives a tribute to ICT, that so much of matchmaking has taken place there over the years. You talk sustainability, 90 years ICT has been performing and continues to perform, and each year they move a step forward. Isn't that a nice example of sustainability? How many institutes in the country have had, you find out comparable institutes and find out how well they are performing for that long a period. I don't want to name them, but they are very obvious examples that they haven't performed well. But I want to take you back how he came to UDCT. Apart from his own having got a dig in IIT, and somehow he landed in, there are many examples of people who are landed from IIT Bombay to UDCT, including Mukesh Ambani. And many people who are number one in the SSC and all, they left IIT and joined us. I attribute to UDCT, ICT. After his PhD, I have a big advantage that I've known him for more than 50 years. My erstwhile collaborator, erstwhile colleague. But how to get, I think the challenge for sustainability in institutions, sustainability about industry, I spoke at length in the morning, is to keep on getting talented people. Life in academia is very demanding. It's 24/7. People have different views outside. You are thinking all the time. I remember my wife was mentioning to me, why do you have a pad next to the bed and a pen? I said, in the middle of the night, I might get idea. I don't want to miss that idea. So I'll write it. That's the kind of life. Now, universities, a big university like Bombay had its own procedures for advertising, how much time it will take. So after he was lured to come back after his postdoc in Loughborough and Waterloo, I happened to visit both him and Vasanti when their first son, who was performing exceedingly well, Vikramaditya, Vikram popularly called, but my nickname for him is Shivaji, just as my nickname for G.D Yadav is Maratha. You know. He has that kind of valor. And then how to cope with the procedures of Bombay University. So I'd like to thank Kishore Mariwala. He may not easily recall, that the venting time of almost a year, he worked on a project sponsored by Bombay Oil, anti-Markovnikov addition of HBr to undecylinic acid. I'm sure, Yadav, you will remember working opposite my room on this anti-Markovnikov HBr addition. And then the procedure was followed, and he rightly got. He is also the first occupant of Darbari Seth professorship, one of the new endowed professorship that was added. Sustainability is a necessity. In our own Indian system, there are two examples which are outstanding. You take banana cultivation and coconut. Every part of banana is used. You don't waste anything. Stem gives starch, leaves are used as thali, and then it goes to cattle. In coconut shell gives activated carbon. People have made cutlery out of coconut. Coir is giving fancy products. We can learn a lot from nature. Chemical industry being highly science-based, and Maharashtra had earlier, Honorable Minister, had leadership. I regret to say that they lost that leadership. And I've been cajoling every person concerned in Maharashtra that how we can speed up industrialization on much bigger scale than it is happening. Chemical industry goes to our heart. Maharashtra was pioneer. When we created Kalyan, Ambernath, Chembur, Thana Belapur Road, they are in a different scale today. Thana Belapur Road, practically everything is converted into. We have such an immense scope, and the kind of talent that is available in Maharashtra with outstanding places, IIT Bombay, ICT, National Chemical Laboratory, you name, Maharashtra has an extraordinary talent pool. And sustainability can be handled because we are talking of science base. And chemical engineers have a big role to play in the sustainability part. Whether it is water, I think water is going to be the real bottleneck. There are two crops which are water guzzlers. One is sugarcane, consumes exceptionally large amount of water. Another one is rice. Now, do you want to export water which is scarce? And we need to think, is it a sustainable thing to have rice cultivation on that scale or sugarcane cultivation, and then you want to convert a food product into a fuel? I think anything which is a food item to be converted to fuel doesn't make a very good reading. I'm making a statement which is subject to controversy, but I'm willing to handle that controversy. But it's nice to see my erstwhile collaborator being honored in such exceptionally good way. It shows the kind of respect he commands from his more than century students. It is very happy. Teacher's life is most interesting life because you don't expect anything and you follow the Gita principle that you help them, don't expect anything in return. Therefore, you command lifetime. Unlike bureaucrats, moment bureaucrats are out of the chair, the kind of respect they would command will be totally different. Sorry, also so for the ministers. When they cease to be ministers, something else happens. But we teachers continue to have our constituency completely intact all our life. And you can see plenty of examples of that. So in addition to the tributes I placed, I gave in the morning, I again contribute my tributes to him and applaud Vasanti's contribution. She must be a provocateur for many things. And a critique of what she thinks Ganpati Dada Yadav is not doing properly. So it's nice to see hall being full. I'm exceptionally happy on this day because it's a pleasure to see one of your own collaborator being honored in such an exceptionally good way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to invite Dr. Anil Kakodkar, who's the chairman of the Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission, to please come and say a few words.
Dr. Yadav, Mrs. Yadav, distinguished dais, distinguished members in the audience, ladies and gentlemen. ICT is an old institution which I have been watching from close quarters. In fact, I studied in VJTI, and I think one of the first time I entered ICT was to see Professor Sharma. So, so I had the pleasure of knowing several people from ICT, but I really came close to Dr. Yadav when he became director of ICT. And of course, in atomic energy, we have been having long-standing collaboration with ICT, so that was one cause. But more importantly, little after that, I also happened to be a part of Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission, and I have been always calling Rajiv Gandhi Commission as a nomad commission. We do a lot of activities, but we have no place of ourselves. And so a large number of meetings were held, or we continue to hold at ICT. And of course, Professor Yadav was a great supporter for conduct of those activities. And of course, several projects of RGSTC are, even as of now, as we talk, are taking place in ICT. Later, it so happened that I got connected with ONGC, and again, I think a lot of programmatic linkages with Professor Yadav. And so it has been very nice to keep engaged with you, get benefit of your knowledge and expertise. And of course, these projects in RGSTC, we all look at projects essentially of the societal benefit, particularly in rural Maharashtra. On the other side, of course, they are all connected with the sustainability issues, more particularly the energy sustainability issues. So it has been great working with you, and I look forward to working with you for much longer time. The retirement is only a kind of an age. 60 years, 70 years, 80 years is also an age. But I think true scientists, true researchers keep working as long as your health, physical abilities permit. So we look forward to many, many more things coming from you, Professor Yadav. Talking about sustainability, and particularly Dr. Pandit has enlarged the discussion on sustainability to a much wider canvas, extending to institutions. And now, sustainability of academic institutions, I often wonder, if you take the list of top universities in the world, and I think 8 out of 10 institutions will be more than 100 years old, and some of them are several hundred years old. Now, we also have many 100-year-old institutions in our country. The question is, anything, institutions included, but with age, one tends to decay. The institutions also, at least what we see around us, they tend to decay. But these academic institutions, institutions of eminence, they continue to excel, not for decades, but for centuries. And I think ICT certainly belongs to that class. Soon we expect to cross century. But I think it is the autonomy, it is the academic people, the academic culture, of course, nurtured by Professor Sharma and many others, and Professor Yadav is certainly one important member of that group. But it is that, I think, which maintains the excellence, go on and all, or sustain excellence for long periods of time. This is not a time for a longish debate, but I think we should acknowledge that these people have contributed to sustainability of institutions, and maybe there is a lot to learn for rest of the institutions in the state and in the country. So once again, Professor Yadav, all the best to you, and we look forward to, as they say, your best is yet to come, I believe, and we look forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to invite Shri Madhugar Parekh, Executive Chairman of Pidilite Industries, to kindly say a few words about Professor Yadav.
So I'm very happy to be present at this wonderful function to honor Professor Yadav. I just share two brief points. Of course, I have virtually no connect with Professor Yadav's academic side of the activities, and of course it is all, he's excelled in so many things. It's wonderful to see that. But I was mostly connected where he was struggling to take ICT to a higher level as head of the institute in trying circumstances. I mean, trying circumstances, when I say, he was sharing with me the kind of pulls and pressures which he was under from central government, from state government, from some BMC, from various quarters. So, coming from an academic background to deal with such situation, and then also finally land up in a situation, in a position whereby he was strongly taking the institute forward and taking so many initiatives. And he succeeded in, of course, taking ICT to a much higher level. So I admired, being in touch with him over a period of many years, that how he was able to accomplish this, but that kind of a, I would say, purity of purpose and that kind of a commitment and passion which he had was very transparent. I mean, anybody he would meet, whatever difficult the circumstances were, I think he was persuasive and he was able to convince people to go along with him. So the accomplishments are many, but only one side I was connected with, so I just wanted to share with you. So that's one side. And about sustainability, I have just one question. Why have we landed ourselves here when we are debating sustainability and all these things? And there is a philosophical side or a lifestyle connected side, and there is, of course, chemistry and technology side, which is, of course, apparent here that we are all, gathered here to look at how we can achieve sustainability by means of technology and by being more careful about what we are doing. But go back several generations, I think this question was irrelevant, because I think the lifestyle of our forefathers was sustainable. So it was inbuilt into the lifestyle, and I think maybe it changed over last 200-300 years in such a manner that society has abandoned those ideas and put ourselves into a situation where now we realize that sustainability, if we don't seriously work on sustainability, then the whole mankind may be in trouble, the earth may be in trouble. But I think it's not only technology, but I think there is also a factor of lifestyle changes which is very, very important, and I think all of us should possibly consider this. So once again, congratulations to Professor Yadav, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to invite Shri Nadir Godrej, the chairman of Godrej Industries Limited, to say a few words about Professor Yadav.
Professor Yadav, Mrs. Yadav, Professor Sharma, Professor Pandit, fellow members on the dais, the Honorable Minister, friends. The entire chemical industry owes so much to UDCT, from its inception in 1933 and now as autonomous ICT. It has spread its wings far and wide, taken new campuses in its stride, spawned startups and giant corporations spread across many nations. And as for the Godrej Group, it's always been in the loop. And when it was UDCT, my father would then oversee doctoral students diligently. Much has been done in his memory, an oils and fats laboratory, a chair in green chemistry and sustainability engineering. And with this audience, I must share that Professor Yadav proposed this chair. In the service of engineering, we are proud to be pioneering. We saw this as a collaboration for both the group and the nation. From school straight to UDCT, a brilliant career is what we see. The advisor for his PhD was none other than M.M. Sharma, you see. I'm sure that this glorious start undoubtedly played a major part in Professor Yadav's outstanding career as a leading chemical engineer, with a can-do spirit full of good cheer that made him a visionary and a seer. In many aspects, he played a role. Efficient catalysis was a major goal. He worked in many fields for sure. Over the years, got patents galore. His doctoral students steadily mount. Over 100 is now the count. Master students are even more, a legacy that will endure through academic generations across all the major nations. His papers make a lengthy list. None of them should be missed. He receives many citations and delivers hundreds of orations. He served on journal editorial boards and received a plethora of awards from academia and industry, and several from SusChemE, as well as from other associations in India as well as other nations. And from our government, a Padma Shri. An endless stream is what we see. His knowledge is unfurled in different parts of the world. As visiting professor, he's in great demand. How he does it all is hard to understand. For all these assignments, he was ready, but with ICT, he was rock steady. Though there were changes in the name, the institute was just the same. Though, of course, as everyone knows, the stature then steadily rose, and Professor Yadav's progress was by no means any less. He rose to be the VC, and during his tenure, what we see is many endowments for chairs and labs. All of these were up for grabs. His pitch was always so thrilling that industry friends were more than willing. The progress is truly grand when academia and industry work hand in hand. He was always involved in SusChemE. A prominent role is what we see. When president in 2001, so much was achieved and done. A slew of endowments and awards, not one or two or three, but hordes. I'm grateful that I had the chance to work with the scientists par excellence. Green chemistry has always been there, but all the same, it's only fair to state that now it's to the fore, and the emphasis is that much more. 12 principles have shown the way. Green chemistry grows day by day. The cause by now would have been lost had we always incurred a cost. While planet saving led the way, now we know that it can pay. Harmful waste is very bad, but any waste is very sad. For after all, waste is lost, and so indeed unneeded cost. For saving waste, it's always nice to have our reactions quite precise. Of course, a green chemistry is clean, but it pays well because it's lean. Much progress we now clearly see with nano and biotechnology. Crop yields are all on the rise, and so it's not a big surprise. Natural feedstocks are catching on. The fossil way may soon be gone. Of course, every chemist knows of oil and starch and cellulose. We've used sucrose and ethanol and started using glycerol. But now that in recent days we've made progress with cellulase, cheap, simple sugars can lead the way, the dawning of a glorious day. And soon we'll make a giant leap as green energy gets very cheap. We can go where it's stranded or where power can't be landed. Iceland, the Sahara come to mind. Other distant places we could find. We could make methanol from CO2 and formic or oxalic acid too. This chemistry would be very clean and to my mind truly green. This may seem a fantasy, but in good time we will see. For Professor Yadav, this is a goal. He has played a leading role. With his guidance we can proceed with green technology and succeed. And thus we acquire the ability for profitable sustainability. For Professor Yadav took the lead. He has helped us to succeed. We invited him on our board. Last year our business really soared. His knowledge helps our business grow. Many benefits certainly flow. We value his sage advice. Working with him is very nice. For engineering services to our nation, here's one more felicitation. And it is a cause for much elation that it's also a birthday celebration. We wish him many happy returns. We hope the lamp of knowledge always burns and everyone then steadily learns. And now, as I end this oration, let's give Professor Yadav a standing ovation. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our chief guest for that delightful poem. It covered all aspects of Sir's personality and his work. I'd like to now invite Mr. Jagdish Patankar, who's the Executive Chairman of Active SciTech Communications Private Limited, who will introduce our esteemed guest for the day, Shri Mungantiwar.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, distinguished delegates, invitees, ladies and gentlemen. After such a very, very interesting and inspiring address by Nadir Godrej ji, who, summed up the personality of Professor G.D Yadav in such a wonderful way, you can imagine how difficult the task must have been for us to identify a person who can actually felicitate somebody like Professor G.D Yadav. It is never easy. And then how do you do that? Because Professor G.D Yadav is not just an educator, but he is a multifaceted personality who has created impact on the industry, created impact on the society, has been an international personality, and he is still going strong. So we started wondering as to who should be the guest. And we realized that the theme of this entire 3 days of program and today's evening and today morning is sustainable chemistry and engineering. So sustainability is at the heart. Green chemistry and green engineering and all this is becoming center stage. He has been, Dr. Professor G.D Yadav has been the strongest advocate of that. And when in Maharashtra or in India you see some personalities, and many of you may not know, and that is why I am taking little bit that extra trouble of introducing Honorable Minister Shri Sudhir Bhau Mungantiwar. Now, Sudhir Bhau Mungantiwar, as you know, he is the Minister for Forest in Maharashtra. He is the Minister of Cultural Affairs, and he is also Fisheries. Now, if you look at his past also, he hails from Chandrapur, a place which is known for the forest. So, you know, he is one personality who has been playing very, very active role in preserving forest, preserving environment in the country, and extremely passionate about it. And in his speech, it will be evident to all of you. He himself is a multifaceted person. He is a great politician. He has been the party president for Bharatiya Janata Party. He is educated in many diverse fields. He was finance minister of the state. He has been the activist. He has built a war museum that you must all go to Chandrapur and see, which is one of the best war museums that probably anybody would have known. And you know, that kind of personality. So, you know, switching over to Marathi, असं म्हणतात की महाराष्ट्रात सगळेजण बेरजेचं राजकारण करतात, पण ते गुणाकाराचं म्हणजे मल्टीफॅसेटेड असल्यामुळे गुणाकाराचं समाजकारण करतात. You know, so you know, I don't have to say anything more about a personality like Shri Sudhir Bhau Mungantiwar, who has kindly accepted to be here, to be on this occasion, and I request Sudhir Bhau to address the gathering.
मंचावर उपस्थित आदरणीय आजचे सत्कार मूर्ती, उत्सव मूर्ती श्री G.D यादवजी, श्रीमती यादवजी व महाराष्ट्र भूषण श्री अनिल काकोडकरजी, श्री अनिरुद्ध पंडितजी, M शर्माजी, मधुकर पारेखजी, श्री नादिर गोदरेजजी, जगदीश पाटणकरजी व इथं उपस्थित माझ्या सर्व आदरणीय मान्यवर बंधूंनो आणि भगिनींनो, मी सर्वप्रथम माझ्या वतीने श्री G.D यादवजी यांना जन्मदिवसाच्या अनंत अनंत शुभकामना देतो. आपको जन्मदिन की बहुत बहुत मुबारकबाद और भगवान सिद्धिविनायक से यही प्रार्थना मैं करता हूँ कि आपको वो शतायु करे और इस देश की सेवा में और बहुत ज़्यादा पेटेंट 123 से 200 तक पेटेंट ये देश को आपके माध्यम से मिले, ये मैं शुभकामना देता हूँ. असं म्हणतात की कोणत्याही यशस्वी व्यक्तीच्या पाठीशी स्त्रीचा हात असतो. आमच्या श्रीमती यादवसुद्धा इथं उपस्थित आहे. मी त्यांनाही यादवजींच्या जन्मदिवसाच्या निमित्ताच्या या दिवशी मी त्यांनाही सदिच्छा देतो. त्यांच्या सहकार्याशिवाय 123 पेटंटपर्यंत ते पोहोचूच शकले नसते. असंच सहकार्य करा म्हणजे ते 200 पेटंटपर्यंत पोहोचू शकेल. हे तर आमचं सौभाग्य आहे की आज G.D यादवजी यांच्या सत्काराच्या कार्यक्रमात आम्हाला निमंत्रित केलं. पर पाटनकर जी, जब आप हमारे बारे में जानकारी दे रहे थे तो मैं मन में सोच रहा था कि यादव जी के इस शुभकामना के अवसर पे मेरे बारे में जो जानकारी दे रहे हैं वो मेरे ख्याल से एक पे एक फ्री हो रहा है, क्योंकि आप मेरी भी तारीफ उसमें करते जा रहे थे. खरं तर एखाद्या व्यक्तीचं आकलन आणि मूल्यांकन कसं करायचं असतं, तर त्याचं आजचं चित्र हे यथार्थ आहे. आज या कार्यक्रमात एक तरफ मैं ज्ञानी लोगों को भी देख रहा हूं और धनी लोगों को भी देख रहा हूं. मैं मन के मन में, जब आप मुझे यादव जी बता रहे थे कि ये इस इंडस्ट्री के ओनर है, मालिक है, स्वामी है, तो मैं मन के मन में, पहले फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर था तो इनके सबके बैलेंस शीट की टोटल लगा रहा था. यहाँ जितने लोग हैं उनकी बैलेंस शीट ये महाराष्ट्र के बजट इतनी निश्चित होगी, इतने सभी धनी लोग यहाँ आए हैं. आणि एक गोष्ट मी पाहत होतो की यादवजी लहानपणी शिक्षक आम्हाला सांगायचे विद्या विनयेन शोभते, पण अशा व्यक्ती खूप कमी असतात. मी विमानात बसतो, मी एअर कंडिशन जेव्हा ट्रेनच्या डब्यात बसतो, ज्ञानी असेल तो विनयशीलच असेल असं सांगता येत नाही आणि अशी व्याख्या करणं आजकाल कठीण होत चाललं. पण श्री यादवजींना मी बघितल्यावर निश्चितपणे सांगू शकतो की विद्या विनयेन शोभते. आणि एखाद्याचं नाम रखना ही हमारे हाथ में नहीं है, पर नाम को यथार्थ होने वाला काम करना ये हमारे हाथ में है. खैर तर आत्याबाईंनी तुमचं नाव गणपती ठेवलं, कारण आमच्याकडे आत्या नाव ठेवते. आणि आत्याबाईंनी ठेवलेल्या नावाला ज्ञानाने यथार्थ करणं आणि नाव गणपती आणि त्या पद्धतीने ज्ञानाची उपासना करणं हे नावही यथार्थ करण्याचं काम हे निश्चितपणे माननीय यादवजींनी केलं. त्यांचं कितीही कौतुक केलं, कितीही अभिनंदन केलं तर कमी आहे. खरं तर शाळेत असताना जेव्हा शिक्षक आम्हाला कोहिनूरचा इतिहास सांगायचे तेव्हा 4थ्या वर्गात मग नेहमी इंग्रज कोहिनूर घेऊन गेले तर कसं कसं तरी वाटायचं की आपला कोहिनूर जगातला सर्वात उत्तम हिरा हा गोरे लोक घेऊन गेले. पण यादवजी तेव्हा तर मी छोटा होतो, पण जेव्हा आता तुमच्यासारख्यांना पाहतो तेव्हा मी अभिमानाने म्हणू शकतो की तो निर्जीव कोहिनूर ब्रिटनच्या गोऱ्या लोकांना तुम्ही घेऊन गेला, पण हे सजीव कोहिनूर जोपर्यंत या देशाचा आहे तब तक मेरा भारत महान है, हे निश्चितपणे आपण अभिमानाने सांगू शकतो. हे खरं आहे की 21व्या शतकामध्ये आता पहिल्यांदा आपण म्हणायचो की 12 कोसावर भाषा बदलते, आता 12 दिवसात तंत्रज्ञान बदलते. आणि म्हणूनच स्वर्गीय पंतप्रधान लालबहादूर शास्त्री हे जय जवान जय किसान असा मंत्र द्यायचे. श्रद्धेय अटल बिहारी वाजपेयींनी त्याला जय विज्ञान हा शब्द जोडला आणि विश्वगौरव नरेंद्र मोदींनी जय जवान जय किसान जय विज्ञानला जय अनुसंधान हा शब्द जोडला. भारतामध्ये कशाचीही कमतरता नव्हती, पण दुर्दैवाने आपल्याकडे असणारं ज्ञान कस्तुरी मृगाच्या स्वभावासारखं राहिलं की कस्तुरी मृगाच्या बेंबीमध्ये कस्तुरी, पण तो शोधत राहिला सुगंध कुठून येतो. तुझं आहे तुझपाशी ज्ञानाचा भंडार आपल्या देशात होता, म्हणूनच जगातल्या 193 देशात सर्वात जास्त आक्रमणं ही भारतावर झाली. ज्या 1750 मध्ये जगाच्या जीडीपी मध्ये 24.4% जीडीपी हा भारताचा होता, ज्याचं वर्णन चीनी प्रवासी करायचे. सोन्याचा धूर आणि दुधाच्या नद्या वाहतात. अमेरिकेचा शोध घेणारा हा भारताचा शोध घ्यायला निघाला आणि अमेरिकेत पोहोचला. भारतात एकच अडचण आहे की दुर्दैवाने भारतामध्ये सर्व काही आहे, पण आम्हाला इम्पोर्टेड भारतीयत्व आवडतं आणि हीच आमची खरी अडचण आहे. पण यादवजींचं जेव्हा मी जीवनचरित्र पाहिलं तेव्हा मला अभिमान वाटला की एक अभंग म्हणणारा वारकरी, संप्रदायाच्या मार्गावर चालणारा एक वारकरी हा अध्यात्मासोबत ज्ञानाची जोड देतो आणि अभिमानाने सांगतो की मला C फॉर केमिस्ट्री आणि M फॉर मॅथमॅटिक्स आवडतो, पण हे ज्ञान मी कुणासाठी तर C फॉर कॉमन आणि M फॉर मॅन. कॉमन मॅनसाठी माझं हे C फॉर केमिस्ट्री आणि M फॉर मॅथमॅटिक्सचं ज्ञान मी कामी आणतो. आणि हे पेटेंट घेऊन समाजामध्ये आज सस्टेनेबिलिटीचा आपण विचार करता. इथं प्रत्येकाने आपल्या भाषणामध्ये सस्टेनेबिलिटीचं सांगितलं आणि हायड्रोजनच्या बद्दल मी जेव्हा तुमचा इंटरव्ह्यू ऐकत होतो तर निश्चितपणे आज देशाला अशाच ज्ञानी राष्ट्रसेवेचा विचार घेऊन काम करण्याची आवश्यकता आहे. आणि हे काम तुम्ही घेतलं याच्याबद्दल तुमचं कितीही अभिनंदन केलं तरी ते कमी आहे. आणि यासाठी आज मी मुद्दाम या ठिकाणी तुम्ही आलो. G20 तुम्ही आम्ही सर्वांनी बघितलं. G20चे व्हिडिओ खूप आपल्या व्हॉट्सॲपवर दिसतात. त्याच्यात तेच वाक्य खरंच आहे की झिरो दिया मेरे भारत ने. खरं तर मी गेले 2 वर्ष पद्म पुरस्कार समितीचा अध्यक्ष आहे. जर तुमचं नाव या अगोदर शिफारस करण्याचं सौभाग्य मला प्राप्त झालं असतं तर आज अजून जास्त आनंद झाला असता. पण तुम्हाला सरकारचा पद्म पुरस्कार प्राप्त झाला. या देशातल्या 141 कोटी लोकांपैकी त्या 6,000 लोकांमध्ये तुम्ही आहात की ज्यांना पद्म पुरस्कार प्राप्त झाला. ईश्वर तुम्हाला खूप यश देव. यापेक्षाही मोठे असे संशोधन तुमच्या हातून व्हावे ही सदिच्छा मी तुम्हाला देतो. आणि मला विश्वास आहे की 151 पेक्षा राष्ट्रीय आंतरराष्ट्रीय पुरस्कार तुम्हाला प्राप्त झाले. कोल्हापूरचं नाव रोशन केलंच, महाराष्ट्राचंही नाव तुम्ही रोशन केलं. याच पद्धतीची प्रगती हे तुमच्या हातून या देशामध्ये होणाऱ्या प्रगतीच्या गतीमध्ये योगदान देत व्हावी हे निश्चितपणे मला विश्वास आहे. आणि सरकार अशा सर्व गोष्टींना पाठिंबा देते. या अगोदरही वित्तमंत्री असताना मी तुमच्या ICTला जेव्हा केव्हा तुम्ही माझं स्मरण केलं तेव्हा मी मदतीला आलो. आज वित्तमंत्री नाही पण मी चित्तमंत्री म्हणजे वनमंत्री आहे. मला विश्वास आहे F फॉर फॅमिलीच्या F फॉर फायनान्ससाठी 3च F महत्त्वाचे आहे. एक फॉर्मरचा F, दुसरा फिशरीचा F तेच पोट भरतं आणि फॉरेस्टचा F. 2 F माझ्याकडे आहे. तिसरा जो F आहे त्या Fला आपल्या या संशोधनातून उत्कृष्ट असा उपयोग व्हावा. खूप खूप धन्यवाद.
Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to thank today's esteemed guest, Honorable Minister Shri Sudhir Mungantiwar, for his very kind words. I'd like to request him and our chief guest for the day, Shri Nadir Godrej, to release the coffee table book. So this coffee table book contains sir's entire life story, all facets of his personality, his work. This book has been designed with a lot of care, with a lot of inputs from sir about his life, about his childhood and about his journey from there to here. I'd like to request everyone to please give a big round of applause. Thank you. I'd like to request the Honorable Minister to kindly proceed for the felicitation of Padma Shri Professor G.D Yadav. This must be accompanied by a huge round of applause. I'd like to invite Dr. Kumudini Marathe to please felicitate Dr. Mrs. Vasanti Yadav. Please give a huge round of applause for Dr. Mrs. Vasanti Yadav and her contribution to Sir's life. Thank you all. I request everyone to please be seated. So now, the event that we've all been speaking about, Sir's 71st birthday. So a birthday requires a cake. I'd like to invite all the alumni of the GDY family to please come ahead and join Sir while he cuts the cake for his 71st birthday. I'd also like to invite all the dignitaries to also join the cake cutting ceremony. I would request all alumni members to please be near the stage while Sir cuts his cake. To make this a proper celebration, I would request some alumni to come here and sing the happy birthday song. Please volunteer.
Recorded song, and I request all the alumni to please sing it for the sir. Happy birthday to you, sir. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Bless you. May God bless you. Happy birthday to you.
I request everyone to please be seated. We still have some part of the evening remaining.
Can you move the cake, please?
I'd like to invite Professor B.N. Thorat from the Institute of Chemical Technology to please come on stage and read a citation in honor of Professor G.D Yadav. I'd like to invite Professor B.N. Thorat from the Institute of Chemical Technology to kindly come on stage and read the citation in honor of Professor G.D Yadav. So over to you. I request everyone to kindly be seated. We still have a couple of events left. A kind request to please be seated.
हे कसं आहे
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Please be seated. I request everyone to take the seat. Please be seated. Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. I have the honor of reading the citation presented to Professor Ganpati Dadasaheb Yadav. The citation goes like this. On this memorable day, we are immensely pleased to honor and felicitate a unique persona whose contributions to education, research, innovation, and translation are humongous. An international conference, SusChemE, is a tribute to him. Professor Ganpati D. Yadav is India's leading researcher, educator, and innovator in industrial sustainability and clean technology. He has made impactful contributions to the practice of chemical and energy engineering, catalysis, green chemistry, biotechnology, and nanotechnology, the net zero decarbonization, and circular economy. He has authored over 550 publications peer-reviewed and trained 110 PhDs, 147 masters, and 48 postdoctoral students. He is one of the most cited researchers in India and has delivered nearly 950 seminars, orations. Professor Yadav, through his unique transformational leadership, is an exemplar of translational research leading to successful commercialization of several of his 123 patents. His innovations are integral part of the new wave of clean chemical manufacturing processes around the world. Excuse me, I think this voice is reversed. I request you to. His inventions are integral part of the new wave of clean chemical manufacturing processes around the world. Notable projects include his work on green hydrogen and direct conversion of carbon dioxide into methanol, dimethyl ether, and hydrocarbon. His education, research, and patents have created hundreds of creative and enterprising minds who are now managing several chemical and allied industries. He also actively practices as a consulting engineer and serves on the board of several of prominent companies whose market cap is in excess of 13 billion US dollar. Professor Yadav led the Institute of Chemical Technology for over a decade and transformed the institution from a locally reputed university to a global center of excellence. The ICT established 2 new campuses over India, conferring him with the Padma Shri in 2016. He was also inducted as a fellow of US National Academy of Engineering in year 2022 and US National Academy of Inventors in 2023, apart from many prestigious fellowships and honors. He is intimately connected with many policy-making, government committees and industry association, and with his impeccable and inspiring leadership, he has alchemized professional societies like Indian Institute of Chemical Engineers, IICHE, Indian Chemical Society, ICS, Catalyst Society of India, and Maharashtra Academy of Sciences. These into formidable bodies with establishment of prestigious awards, scholarships, and lecturerships. His mentoring of students, support staff, and colleagues are beyond words. Professor Yadav has championed the welfare of students from the rural and disadvantaged backgrounds, women and underrepresented groups, and created a perpetual support system. Despite his unbelievable accomplishment, Professor Yadav is a simple, down-to-earth, ever-smiling, easily accessible, and human. A poet at heart and a soldier of ICT,
and the UD City Alumni Association, who has gone beyond the call of duty. We wish this young man, Ganapati Yadav, on his 71st birthday, a very happy, rewarding, and a wonderful life. Thank you. I request the Honorable Minister to give the citation to Professor G.D Yadav. Thank you. Over to Sneha.
I thank the Honorable Minister. I'd like to request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, A.B. Pandit Sir, to kindly felicitate all the dignitaries on the dais. We would first like to felicitate our chief guest for the day, Shri Nadir Godrej, who is the chairman of Godrej Industries Limited. We thank you for your time, sir. I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor to felicitate Shri Madhukar Parekh, the Executive Chairman of Pidilite Industries, who is the guest of honor for this evening. I'd like to request the Honorable VC to kindly felicitate Professor M.M. Sharma, who is the former director of the Institute of Chemical Technology, who is also the guest of honor for today. I request the Vice Chancellor to kindly felicitate Dr. Anil Kakodkar, the Chairman of Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission. Now I'd like to request the Honorable Vice Chancellor to felicitate the esteemed guest for the evening, Shri Sudhir Mungantiwar, the Minister for Forest, Cultural Affairs and Fisheries, Maharashtra Government. Thank you, sir, for taking out valuable time and attending the event. I thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor. I'd like to invite Professor V.K. Rathod, who is the convener of SusChemE 2.0 and the head of the Department of Chemical Engineering, for a special announcement.
Good afternoon. So I know this is the last agenda, and special announcement is just to give a gift to Professor G.D Yadav. As I mentioned earlier, almost more than 30 to 40 years he worked in ICT, and as a head of chemical department, on behalf of our department as well as institute, we want to give a very small gift. We want to start an endowment of under this heading Professor G.D Yadav Endowment in Chemical Engineering. So I announce this endowment of Professor G.D Yadav Endowment in Chemical Engineering for Emerald Professor in Chemical Engineering Department. So we would like to raise almost 5 crore. Of course, currently we are 0. But with the help of industry people here, there are many industry people are here, alumni are here, faculties are here. I request all to add a fund in this particular endowment so that we can raise up to 5 crore. If you have 5 crores, we can at least have one faculty member under the endowment of Professor G.D Yadav in chemical engineering. So thank you. If someone would like to add money, now also someone can say, and add, not even just can raise the hand and name that you would like to add money. Thank you. Is anybody, if someone is want to? If not now, not now, you can just write to me at any time. My email ID is, I am the head of department, myself, Virendra Rathod. Please write email to me and anytime you can contact me. So I'll add that similar money to the endowment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would like to request the event SusChemE 2.0 was organized by ICT and NM Active jointly. So I'd like to request the Honorable Minister to kindly felicitate Mr. Jagdish Patankar, the Executive Director of MM Active SciTech Communications, with a bouquet of flowers. I'd like to call Mr. Ravi Boratkar on stage, please. This event was organized by MM SciTech Communications with the leadership of Mr. Jagdish Patankar and Mr. Ravi Boratkar. And last but definitely not the least, ICT. So our Honorable Vice Chancellor representing ICT, I would like the Honorable Minister to kindly felicitate our Honorable Vice Chancellor for organizing SusChemE 2.0 in honor of Professor Yadav's 71st birth anniversary. I'd like a huge round of applause for ICT representatives. So, for a small last event of the day, before Padma Shri Professor G.D Yadav speaks, we would like to play a short video which was made to depict his entire life story. So, I request the team to kindly play the video.
Welcome to the world of chemistry and engineering, where molecule dances in harmony and discoveries lead to the innovations that shape our future. In this sustainable era, the preeminent engineering scientist in India, a remarkable individual who possesses an admirable qualities and the finest leader. The very popular name in the green chemistry era, Professor Ganpati Dadasaheb Yadav, a name that resonates with both familiarity and reverence, is affectionately known to many as G.D Yadav or Yogesh, a son of Dadasaheb Krishnaji Yadav and Rukmini Dadasaheb Yadav. Was born on 14 September 1952 in a traditional Maratha peasant family in a small village of Arjunwada in the Kolhapur of Maharashtra state on the auspicious day of Ganesh Chaturthi. He called himself a village boy. What is it with India and its dynamic creative villagers? Although Yogesh's parents desired that he become a civil servant with the power and the prestige, they all knew that Yogesh was at heart a lifelong student.
I remember my childhood when I used to climb up the tree with a book in my hand and sit there and study. And in fact, many of my classmates also did the same thing. Not only that, I remember this particular river and this ghat since the age of about 8. Maybe, I've been coming to this place to take my bath early in the morning. So this would be around 4 o'clock in the morning. And I used to take bath and take a pot of water and go back and then do my puja and then do studies. In fact, we did not have any lights then, no electricity. So it was the lantern which we used to use.
His village school only had classes until 4th grade and did not have a building of its own. His teacher made use of village temples as classrooms with continuous infringement by devotees. Despite this, Yogesh fondly recalls that he went to 7th grade, there were only 5 teachers with 3 classrooms. Do you know, he is a Swayambhu, a self-made man and very proud of his rural roots since the nature taught him to be fearless, selfless and creative. His teachers have played a vital role in his life. Raghunath Kulkarni, Digambar Ganagatirkar and Professor M.M. Sharma all shared the same message to serve all your life in whatever path you choose. You cannot change the whole society, but certainly you can make a difference. During his visit to Waterloo in 1984, Professor M.M. Sharma advised him to return to India whenever there would be a vacancy of faculty position in UDCT Mumbai in 1986.
I saw him more closely when he became my research student in 74. And I could see how hardworking, how intelligent he was. Most important, a multifarious personality. I mean, he was good in theory, good in experiments, good in making sketches. I didn't know at that time that he also has traits of being a poet and that he is good in Sanskrit and that he can write in Marathi poems and all.
Disasters have taken place in India. And therefore, green chemistry, green engineering, green technology becomes extremely important. And Dr. Yadav's one of the greatest contribution has been his contribution to green chemistry and green technology through a variety of innovative things that he has done, including his novel catalytic processes.
Great equation based on trust, basically. You ask him anything that he sends me for approval, he gets shocked if I have not returned it within 10 minutes, basically, if I'm traveling, etc. That happens. So my implicit trust in him is so much that we don't have any bureaucratic relationship like a chancellor and a vice chancellor. We are more like a family. We are more like friends, if you like. All right. So he's not my subordinate. He's my.
Shri Rasayan Devike is the university song Vidyapeeth Geet, which was composed by Professor G.D. Yadav, Vice Chancellor of the Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai, on 27th Feb 2012, the Marathi Bhasha Din.
Professor Ganpati Yadav is India's leading researchers, educators and innovators with more than 17,000 citations, 3 books, 551 peer-reviewed research and 15 book chapters with 70 national and 53 international patents. He trained 110 PhDs, 147 masters and 48 postdocs. Professor Yadav has won over 150 prestigious fellowships, honors, awards, etc. Some of the awards include Zahir Hussain Medal of the Indian National Science Academy, Jai Krishna Memorial Award of Indian National Academy of Engineering, among many others. He has been recipient of 2 honorary doctorates, Khosla Award of IIT Roorkee, Cross Canada Lecture Tour Award, Canadian Catalysis Society and Canadian Catalysis Foundation, John Van Genus Lecturer, Van't Institute of Molecular Sciences, University of Amsterdam, the Netherlands, Park Lilly Lecturer, University of Waterloo, Canada, and etc.
Dr. Ganpati Dada Saheb Yadav, Vigyan एवं Engineering.
Recently, he was inducted as a fellow by US National Academy of Engineering in 2022 and US National Academy of Inventors in 2023 because of his phenomenal research.
For research, innovation, and education in green chemistry, catalysis, nanotechnology, and chemical engineering leading to clean and green technologies.
In his life, his wife, Professor Vasanti Yadav, proves behind every successful man, there is always a woman.
You are a tireless individual who never accepts defeat. You're always full of life, you're vivacious, and your smile is quite energizing. And it is unsurprising that you've been such a productive researcher, because an integral part of research is to get your team at the same levels of energy and enthusiasm as yourself.
Even though I was a new entrant to the family, Daddy has always treated me like his daughter. So if I have any questions or if I have any problem related to personal or professional life, Daddy is always there. He's like my guru, like my mentor.
The latest addition to the family is Dr. G.D Yadav's grandson, Arun.
He is an excellent engineer. He can repair, he can do everything. You know, you want to fix a door, he will fix a door. You want to do anything, he's a good carpenter, he's a good mechanic, sometimes it is so easy for him. He will do everything in the house also. Fixing a nail, fixing anything, is a fantastic engineer also.
I remember he used to teach us languages, not science, which is kind of ironic since I'm in a science field. For him, it was more about learning the language of communication and delivering our thoughts and ideas. That's what really mattered, instead of delivering or talking about science. Talking about science, you need language, and that's the first thing that he really instilled in us. And I think it's an important thing that he's passed on to us. And as an inspiration, it's very humbling to see that a person from a village background could reach this position. And that's always served as an inspiration to our family.
Happy birthday to a brilliant scientist.
माननीय सुधीर भाऊ मुंगटीवार, श्री नादिर गोदरेज, श्री Madhugar Bhai Parekh, my Guru, Mahaguru, Padma Vibhushan, Professor M.M. Sharma, another great scientist of India, and my very close friend, Dr. Anil Kakodkar, my revered colleague and my successor, Professor Anirudh Pandit, the person who is behind organizing this function, Jagdish Patankar, and Ravi Boratkar of MM Active, Professor J.B. Joshi, who was predecessor to me, his Padma Bhushan. I see many distinguished people, Lalit Bhai Chadda, the industrialist, Dr. Kishore Shah, another industrialist, and many others. And of course my great friend K. Venkatraman Larsen in Tubro, Vijay Palkar, my student, who is also a great industrialist, and many more who I can see. Well, I think Khosla Saab is also there, is another industrialist. Ladies and gentlemen, I am overwhelmed, simply overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. Birthday comes only once and you look forward to the next birthday. So really speaking, I'm reliving my life today and I've gone into past. Let me open up my heart. Normally I'm extempore. I speak my mind. But today I had jotted down some points so that I don't stray. So I must thank each and every one of you who is present here today, and my friends and colleagues in ICT who thought to honor me with such a great international conference where people from across the world are participating, and also not to be forgotten that whether I really become a celebrity, I'm not a Amitabh Bachchan or anything. I used to go to Matunga market to buy sabji, and the sabji wala will ask me if I don't go for a week, "Are tum kahan gaye the?" So I would tell him that I had gone abroad. Bolte ke Dubai mein gaye the kya? They never knew who I was, and still they don't know who I am. The chana wala always gave me chana, but he never said ke kaise ho bhai ab aajkal bacche nahi dikh rahe. That was his comment on me. So when I stand and ponder and see the path that I have followed, is it not a miracle that a simple village boy who was walking barefoot to another village to study always had a danda in the hand so that snakes could be there, and we used to kill a lot of snakes, I must tell you that. We killed many snakes. Or, pluck mangoes. That is what we did during our childhood. In fact, if I tell you that I never wanted to go to the school, and we had a very great tradition in our village, the other students who went to the school will go and fetch the boy, and 4 boys will lift that boy, and take it to school. I was one of them. And so my mother told me this, that when the boys came to pick me up, I took an axe and chased them, because I did not want to go to school. You cannot believe that I was the same boy. And the very first day, I still remember the teacher's name, Lakshman Ganesh Bhatt. He told us a story, Tikoji Rao, the dangling carrot, person who is having dangling carrot, and I liked it so much, I never missed the school thereafter. Never. And we had a great teacher, Raghunath Madhav Kulkarni, in 3rd standard. You know what I did? I don't know what impressed him most. So he said, "Look, you boys, you should clean the village." So our first Swachha Bharat experiment we started in 3rd standard. Now we are talking of Swachha Bharat. Then we used to go and put rangoli and all those things. And what? No, he said, you will be in charge of this particular part, so you will be gut Naik, that is a group leader. So very recently, when I went to my native place, one of my classmates, old, having no teeth in his mouth, so he says, gut Naik, kasha ahat tumi, how are you? Now gut Naik even one means I'm a leader, huh? He said. And you know what he said? Do you know that our teacher, Kulkarni Guruji said, you will be a great person? I said, how did he know that I will be a great person? But he said, no, he used to say, because I composed a poem in standard 3rd, and the poem was, Ram ahe Rajya Deve, Dasarath utla, Kaikeila bhetla, Manale Rajya Deve ke Ramala. He Kavita, this poem, Nadirji, I composed when I was in 3rd standard, and that impressed that teacher very much. But the another interesting part, people call me wrestler. But they don't know I have been wrestling all my life to get funds for ICD and for my students and all. Because I was caring for them, their future, and I used to tell my students, once you are inside, you are my student. So long you are outside, I have nothing to do with that. But you come inside, I will beg, but I will get money for you. Don't leave. We are 370 undergraduate scholarships ranging from 25,000 to 1,50,000 because of the alumni and the well-wishers and donors like Kishore Mariwala. He was the person who gave me the first job. He gave the first job. So you can imagine that kind of life I led. And then, because we did not have school, up to 4th standard and no building, so our education on these temples, and in village temples, we had a lot of temples. I think we had about 12 temples in our, Margubai, Masoba, Maruti, Ganpati, Vithal, you name it, all temples, Hanuman, every temple was there. So some of the temples we used to sit and learn, and our villagers don't care whether you are teaching or not. They will come and kantating. We used to hopefully look at them whether they will give that gift, prasad to us. They never gave. Only thing they gave was the tambaku to the teacher. That is what they gave. That is the kind of education we had. And the best part is that when our school building was built after we went to the next level, there were no teachers, only 5 teachers and 7 classes. So one teacher has to teach 2 classes. So I was in 3rd standard, my brother was in 6th standard. We are sitting in the same class and the teacher would say, Porano, tumi ikde laksha dayachon nahi. You don't listen to the other part of the story. And he used to tell very nice stories of Shivaji. So I used to listen to that. And whenever the teacher used to ask a question, I used to raise my hand. But I was in 3rd standard. That kind of education we had. And the best part is, when I went to my mama's village, which was 5 kilometers, we used to walk every day. And there I met a teacher called Ganga Tirkar. So, in our village was known for wrestlers. We produced Hind Kesri. He was Dadu Chaugule. He was our neighbor in our village. The best part is that, in our village there was a wrestling bout. And I was one of the wrestlers. My number, still I remember, 33 number. And my opponent was Mahadev Kashil. I remember his name also. And what happened? I had an exam that day, Sanskrit paper. So that day I took a cycle. We had only one family had a cycle in the village, and that was my family. So I took that cycle and came back, I finished the paper in 1 hour, came back to fight the bout. And the teacher gave 100 out of 100 in Sanskrit. And also in English. You know what he said? Tu ya gavat rahu nakos. You don't study here. You go to Kolhapur. My father is a headmaster of private high school, Kolhapur. Go to there. He recommended me to his father. And I go there. My classmate is here from private high school right now. And you know what happens? That teacher was my, mentor. He filled in my form for IIT because his son was IIT Bombay graduate. He looked at after me like his own son. I cannot forget this Gangatirkar sir. He was good at Sanskrit, he was good at English, and he was impressed by me. So I cannot forget. And of course, in my later life, I have Mahaguru Professor M.M. Sharma. I cannot forget what he did for me. I am over him. He never tells anybody what he does for his students. Such a humble, simple person. I worked with so many professors and individuals across the world. I have not seen anybody like Professor M.M. Sharma. He's a gem of a person. And I must pay tribute to him because he nurtured me. He made me big. He said, you come back. There is a great future for you in India. My wife was saying, why are we going? We don't have anything in Mumbai. We don't have a house also. And we have to travel by train. So, and I had given my word to Professor Sharma that I will come back. And she opposed. But you know that although she is firm, I somehow convinced her that I must go back. And now the same lady says, we took the best decision of our life. You can change your wife's opinion sometimes, if not always. That is what I experienced, and you know, the rest is the history. I tell you something which I can never write. I did write papers, and I had no laboratory, so I built my own laboratory. My students used to pick the big stones, and we used to go in the basement and make the laboratory. Professor Sharma knows, he had given me some, old lab, and I converted into a beautiful lab. And you know something, what happened? We had a lot of jhopdis coming around. And these were planted by somebody from Vijaydiya side on our side. And that became my mission of my life. How to get rid of these huts, because they were spoiling ICT campus, the beauty of that Matunga area. You don't know through what hell I went that time. 13 during monsoon you cannot demolish any jhopdi. Huh? I'm telling you that if you want to do it. But 13 demolitions and still they would to come back. So I went to Raja Deksha, the ward officer, and said, sir, what do I do? He said, you have to protect your own this thing. Matunga police would not help us. YC Pawar helped me. Professor Sharma and I went and met YC Pawar, and we got his squad to protect us. I was threatened. My kids were small, they were threatened. My wife was threatened that we will kill you if you don't stop this demolition. And you know something? We got letters from Australia and Malaysia and America about Jhopadpatti and Matunga. That time the chief minister was a big man, I will not name him. I went and met him also. He said, oh, I cannot do anything. So we did it, and we wanted money for renovating, because municipality gave me the footpath for 1 rupee. They said, you can decorate. You know that footpath can be decorated with 1 rupee fee every year. And I got a permission. I had no money. So I went around the neighborhood. Nobody is giving money. I went to the industries. And one of the first persons who gave me money was Shekhar. You Shekhar. He's there, Shekhar. You are there, Shekhar? Yeah, Shekhar. He gave me money to clean the footpaths. I got money from Dr. Gada, got from every. And then, University of Mumbai's rules came in between. They said you cannot spend university money on Don Bosco footpath. So what I did, I went to Don Bosco and I told the father. He said, it is against Christianity. You cannot display this. But if you can do it without anything. I got money in Don Bosco's name to clean that footpath, because Mumbai University rules did not allow us to clean their footpath. Such is the world, but we got it clean. That time me and my wife used to go and tell people, please help us, 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees. And you know what my wife said one day? I wish we were rich. We could do it ourselves. Now she is a rich lady, I must tell you that. This I cannot write in my CV, and nobody will promote me for doing good jhopadpatti cleaning. And you know what? The Indian Express gave a headline, 71 families brutally evacuated. Brutally evacuated. And you can imagine the thorough, brutally evacuated headline by UD City, that time UD City. I did not bother. Actually, those people came to me and they told me that every family had given 3,000 rupees to one of the party workers, I will not name the party, and he was planting them there. I got them removed, but also I fought on their behalf with the municipality to give them alternate job, place far away from UD City. I did that. So you know what is the result? Our locality people said, why don't you contest elections for a corporation? I said, no, that is not my business. That is not my business. I did my job. I must tell you, that time Professor Sharma said, and that time what he said in the morning, Yadav can do anything for ICT. His commitment is total. He can give his life, sir. Nobody has given better citation to me than you have done. And that is, nobody has given me that citation. And you know, he used to land in airport. First thing he will come and meet me and say, what has happened about the Jhopdi? You know that. Because he was equally worried. He was equally worried. His concern for a... And then he gave me, because I come from a farming family, I had a knowledge of... You know, I used to... So he said, why don't you beautify the gardens? So I started beautifying the gardens. And he would bring trees from anywhere. We brought trees from Australia also, neem trees. So I became nature lover. And now I'm talking about sustainability and doing sustainability. You imagine that was in my blood. As a child, it was in my blood. We lived in the company of birds, bees, butterflies, and buffaloes. We used to have a competition of cleaning buffalo. I did that during my childhood. And why I'm telling that? I'm not ashamed of telling anybody that I come from a rural family. I come from a very impoverished family, but I have made it on my own. And it is because of my gurus. I had the greatest gurus in my life. So, ladies and gentlemen, a guru can change your, life. And I'm indebted to all of them. So, although I had prepared something, so my journey from my Arjunwada in Radhanagari Taluka to in Kolhapur with a population of 1430 when I was there, because I was a bright student and I had done many awards in elocution competition, sports, wrestling, everything I was there, people in village, elders called me Vidyarthi. So everybody called me Vidyarthi as if there is no other Vidyarthi. And that was given to me as a title. And not only that, my father liked this, he said these English people are very smart. So when I was going to England, Maza mulga vilayatila gela. So he was so happy. He used to tell his friend, my son is in Vilayat, England. So this kind of thing. And my colleagues are celebrating my 71st birthday. The number 7 has very importance in Hindu religion. And the one, when we talk about rishis, 7 days in a week, 7 horses of sun god and whatnot. I saw my colleagues must have thought this fellow is 70 plus 1, he's unique, so therefore 71. That is why the reason, So I believe I've been living my life again. And I can also tell you, when, so now, because I lived in the company of all this nature and all, now we are talking about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We lived that life. My best animal was buffalo, okay? We did not have a dog, but buffalo, because dog had bitten me, so we never had a dog. And now you are singing English song, they Humpty Dumpty went up the hill and all that thing. Our song was Ere Ere Pausa Paisa Dala Khota. We never had the paisa also in our pocket, but we used to say Paisa Dala Khota. That kind of life we lived. And ladies and gentlemen, when I reminisce my childhood, we were happy and content. And in today's world, which is tormented between conflict and war and dissatisfaction and family breakup, old age problems. We are talking about sustainability, and all my colleagues and and see, Mr. Nadir Godrej is a fantastic chemical engineer, fantastic poet, both in English and French, and I have never heard speaking any other language than poetry in all meetings wherever he has gone. Wherever he has gone, he's the final, and see what poem he wrote on me. I don't know whether your wife, is keeping tab on you because you write so many poets. And another part I'm telling you that, because I'm from Kolhapur, there's a tradition of, tying feta. I know how to tie feta. And my friend here, Balchandra Rane, I hope he's there, he used to give me feta every time and tie the feta on. And when my Professor Sharma came to my marriage in Mumbai, he saw my father with the feta. He said, this is like Rajasthani feta. I said, maybe we have some connection with Rajasthan, but he said, this is Rajasthani feta. That is true. Ladies and gentlemen, my mother was totally illiterate. I'm very happy to say this. My mother was totally illiterate. And there was Maharashtra government's, program, Saksharta. You must make everybody Sakshar. I used to teach my mother. I taught her how to read, write. And you know what she said? Are tu khub changla shikhote, master ho. So I became master, because my mother said I am a very good teacher, I became a master, and that was her intention. And when I stood first in 7th standard, she said, "Arey, आता तर तू master झाला पाहिजे, 7वी बस झाली." You know why she said? Because in your time, person who got 3rd standard became talati. And the talati used to wear nice white feta. So she said, now you have achieved something. The best part of my life is that whenever I went home, I used to carry books and story books and whatever, English books, read, and my sister would say, you are still studying? When are you going to stop studying? Even though, although I was employed in a university, she said, when are you going to stop studying? I said, I don't think I will stop studying. Professor Sharma can never stop studying. So we are Vidyarthi. Professor is Vidyarthi all along. And we are talking about recycle, circular economy. My mother never threw any clothes outside. She would make that godadi or wakad in Marathi and reuse that same thing again and again. She will never throw any, broken vessel, aluminum. She will put jaggery in that, carbonize it, and the leak will stop. So she was a very good engineer. So I went to show her my thesis, and she said, "Arey, pora tula akkal nahi." What happened? पाठीमागे तू काहीच लिहिलेलं नाहीस. Because the thesis, you will have only one side, right? With that time it was carbon copy. She said, if you had printed on the other side, your thesis would have been half. Now this is common sense, native intelligence. My mother knew all amongst many things, Puranas, stories. She was a very popular lady, she knew rituals. So when you showed the picture, I felt what kind of sacrifice they did for me. She sold her ornaments so that I could study. Now this is, and these days we are seeing people, neglecting their parents and all that. I'm singularly lucky to have these parents and my sisters and siblings. My sisters never studied beyond 3rd standard because there was no teacher or there was no school. And so I used to say, and they were very smart girls, I used to say, I wish they had studied college and degrees and they would have been professors. Sometimes I also say that this Lakshmi, Professor Lakshmi is like my sister, at least one sister I have got who is a PhD, And she is the one who conceived of this idea, Lakshmi, yeah. So I'm going to tell something at the end. And so I will end with 2 quotes. One is from English, and that is, am I a builder? Did I build something in the institute for the society at large, and what is that? So the distinguished alumnus, on that retirement day also I had said this, I watched them tearing a building down, a gang of men in busy town, with a ho, heave ho, and a lusty ale, they swing a beam and the side wall fell. I asked the foreman, are these men skilled? And the man you would hire if you had to build, he gave a hearty laugh and said, no indeed, just common labor is what I need. I can easily wreck in a day or two what builders have taken a year to do. And I thought to myself as I went away, which of these roles I tried to play when I was in ICT? Which of the roles I tried to play? Am I a builder who works with care? Measuring life by rule and square? Am I shaping my deeds to a well-made plan, presently doing the best what I can do? Or am I a raker who walks away the town, content with the labor of tearing down? So when I reflect on that, did I do building the institute? Did I build individuals? Did I help the associations of industry? And then since the answer is yes, you are here to felicitate me. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes people ask me, what is your legacy? This is the last part of my speech. What is your legacy? Kai tumi tholo. Because at the end of the phase of your life, the last phase, sannyasa ashram, okay? So what they say, what do you do? So collecting funds to the tune of 1800 crores, of which 500 Indian oil, 397, I must tell you, Sudhir Bhau helped me, he doesn't remember. With such a great difficulty, he sanctioned 397 crore and it was approved by the Chief Secretary, Mr. Malik was the Chief Secretary, I met him very recently, and it went to the cabinet, and in the cabinet, 6 ministers said, is it from ICT Professor Yadav we approve. Not a single penny was cut. Am I not lucky? I am singularly a lucky person. And Maharashtra government, I must salute you, sir. You should do something for ICT. You have helped so many institutions, but ICT is not helped. Except the salary, we don't get anything from ICT. So I think, and that salary also doesn't come on time. That is the problem. So I built 2 campuses. IOC, Indian Oil Corporation, that campus in Bhubaneswar. I must thank Sri Naveen Patnaik for giving this and Dharmendra Pradhan for helping me, and Sri Sanjeev Singh. In fact, during that time, I created 292 positions on 3 campuses, 1 VC, registrar, COE and finance officers. And the most important thing, getting a status like IIT in Maharashtra Assembly. I must thank Prithviraj Chauhan who met me in Delhi, and once he said, Dr. Yadav, what can I do? And he incidentally came back to Mumbai and became Chief Minister. So I went to him, I said, sir, can you help me? And he gave us. And the next time when Devendra Fadnavis came to our campus, I said, sir, give me land. There are Dombivli. He said, can you come to Marathwada? And I said, yes. That is how Jalna campus was built. That is how, Rao Sahib Darve took a lead and helped us. Ladies and gentlemen, increasing the retirement age to 65 is my legacy. No other institute in Maharashtra has that legacy. 65 years only ICT faculty members enjoy it. Because I convinced the government that time, IITs have it, what is ICT? ICT is no different. And we got that thing. And many endowments and scholarships. Ladies and gentlemen, the last, in Nirukta Sutra, if you have heard of this Nirukta Sutra, I'm fond of Sanskrit. Nama dveshe ragav na me loha lobha moho modo naivam matscharya bhava na dharmo na artho na kamo na moksha chidananda rupam shivoham shivoham. What it means? I have no like, no dislike, no greed, no delusion. I have no pride, no jealousy. That is what life I have lead. I have no duty, no desire, lust or liberation. I am the form of conscious and bliss. This is the Nirukta thing. But I must acknowledge in this, my wife Vasanti's contribution, silent contribution. She is my biggest critic. Wives normally put the husband on pedestal, but she never. She brings me to the ground level. Okay, ground level. And she always says, you do good duty. Be careful about ICT's reputation. You should not allow it to be tarnished by somebody. She was a great support. I must tell you, her criticism helped me a lot. She did the education of all my children, including their marriages. I was just a silent spectator. Ladies and gentlemen, Ralph Lando, my hero, was a great chemical engineer from MIT. Mr. Godrej might know him. An innovator, industrialist, economist, and philanthropist. Aptly had commented on his inspiring career in his book, Uncaging Animal Spirits. And what did he say? And it is very true in politics also, sir. Luck beats brains all the time, and I have been a very lucky man. You have to be lucky to get a position, honor, whatever you think, unless you are lucky. You may be the best talented person, you may not become chief minister, argument sake. Or you may not become prime minister. But if you are lucky and you have the skill, you can become that. Ladies and gentlemen, I must thank many in ICT, my colleagues, Professor Lakshmikantam, Professor Rathod, Professor Thorat, Professor Pandit, and MM activity, Mangesh, Denzil, Kaustuv, Marilyn, Ketan, and above all, Ravi Boradkar and Jagdish Patil. And my students, Sneha, Vinayak, Ashish, Shalaka, Ayushi, Shubhangi, I hope I have not missed anybody, otherwise we'll stop working tomorrow. And the last poem, it is why I am indebted, but it is in Marathi. I can translate it later, but this is not the time. The title which I gave is Uttarai. That means I am indebted to you. दिवा सपने दिव्य सपने मूर्त रूप होणे साकारने आकारने मानदैव जाणे आभूषणे बिरुदालंकार पुष्पमाला किती you gave me so many आभूषणे so many सत्कार केले whatever it is संगती पंगती तुम्ही ही साथी संगत तुम्ही ही गीत गाता स्तुतीनी प्रगती स्मरत आहे चित्रपट हा प्रेरणा ती कोणती you saw my life story who is my inspirator एकटा नो हे नायक मी ना कोणाचा यशाचा धनी कोण दिग्दर्शक कथा कोणती कुणाचा हा ध्वनी गणित माझे साधे स्नेह अधिक प्रेम गुणिले सत्य अगणित कुटुंब मित्राक्षरचे गुरु शिष्य विस्तृत व्हॉट यू आर देअर इज पार्ट ऑफ दिस सेंटेन्स अविरत प्रवासी मेन खोल प्रवाही वाही नाही डुंबलो भूतली माझे शक्तिस्थल ही तुम्ही You are my source of strength. शतजन्म दिदला तरी का होईन मी उतराई. I cannot repay your debt on me and let me have that debt on me all the time. नाही नाही कधीच नाही राहू दे कर्ज मज डोई. Let it be on my head. आभाळाला नाही सीमा ना वाऱ्याला दिशा दिशा दिशातून प्रेम आले धन्य झालो जगदिशा धन्य झालो जगदिशा. And ladies and gentlemen, since my colleague, last one this is, I conclude with a quote from J. Venter. I think from my experience in war, life and science, it has made me believe that we have one life on this planet. We do not know whether we'll have another life. We don't know, although we believe we'll have another life. We have one chance to live it and to contribute to the future of the society, sustainable future and the future of life. The only afterlife is what other people remember of you. In the Western country, they give donations to the institutions. Nobody has taken money to heaven. I'm telling you that also. Show me anybody who has carried the checkbook or nobody. So it says, give in abundance to society. Namaste sada vatsale matrabhumi. नमस्ते सदा वत्सले मातृभूमि त्वया हिंदू भूमि सुखम वरितो हम महामंगले पुण्य भूमे तदर्श पतस्त्वेषा कायो नमस्ते 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 धन्यवाद.
Thank you, sir. We were enamored while you spoke. I would like to request the audience to kindly thank the Honorable Minister for sparing time. He has a different commitment at this time. But sir, thank you for being here. Thank you for felicitating Professor Yadav. It was an honor to have you here, sir. We can proceed for the networking dinner after this. Thank you. I'd like to thank them. Please join me in thanking all of the chief guest and all the other guests, all the dignitaries on stage. I give you a round of applause. Thank you for sparing time for us. Please proceed for dinner. Thank you.
I don't know. Adir, you are fantastic.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic.
Would you like a copy?
I'd love to have it. Thanks a lot. Hi, Dr. Pandit, how are you? Really trying to see you after a long time.
येलो माईक कुठे आहे?
Hope that the deliberations would pave the way for new directions, new efforts to make the sustainability challenge somewhat easy. Hope that the deliberations would pave the way for new directions, new efforts to make the sustainability challenge somewhat easy. Hope that the deliberations would pave the way for new directions, new efforts to make the sustainability challenge somewhat easy. Hope that the deliberations would pave the way for new directions, new efforts to make the sustainability challenge somewhat easy. Hope that the deliberations would pave the way for new directions, new efforts to make the sustainability challenge somewhat easy. hope that the deliberations would pave the way for new directions, new efforts to make the sustainability challenge somewhat easy. Hope that the deliberations would pave the way for new directions, new efforts to make the sustainability challenge somewhat easy. Hope that the deliberations would pave the way for new directions,